Sometimes it feels like we're drowning in information,
Yeah.
right? Just bombarded constantly.
Absolutely. And finding what actually matters, the stuff that can guide you, that's the real trick.
Exactly. It's not about more data. It's about insight. And that's really what we try to do here on the Deep Dive.
We aim to be that shortcut, finding those core ideas from the sources you bring us.
We sift through it all, try to pull out those aha moments without just overwhelming you.
Precisely. Think of it as your personalized knowledge filter.
And for your deep dive today, we've got a really fascinating one. Napoleon Hill's The Law of Success.
Ah, a classic. Early 20th century, but wow, so much of it still feels spot on today.
It really does. And what's cool is it wasn't just Hill sitting in a room thinking things up.
No, not at all. This was, 20 years of research, analyzing over 100 really successful people.
Yeah, people like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Rockefeller, even Woodrow Wilson. Big names.
He was trying to figure out the common threads, right? Identify these fundamental laws. He aimed for 15 of them.
A pretty ambitious goal. And look, we're not going to give you a dry rundown of all 15 today.
No, definitely not. We want to pull out the really insightful bits, maybe the surprising ones.
Yeah, the stuff relevant to, gaining knowledge quickly and getting those insights without getting bogged down.
Those aha moments, like you said.
Okay, so ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So Hill kicks things off with what he calls the absolute foundation, the power of a definite chief aim.
A definite chief aim. Sounds a bit grand, maybe?
It does, but basically it just means having a really clear, thought-out purpose, your life's work.
So you know what you're shooting for. You're not just drifting aimlessly.
Exactly. Avoiding that wasted effort. Do you find having that kind of clear purpose helps in your own work?
Oh, definitely. It focuses everything. Hill actually tells a great story about this, doesn't he? About a preacher.
He does, Dr. Gonzalez. He gave this sermon, What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million.
And he wasn't just dreaming vaguely, right? He laid out a whole vision.
A very specific vision for a new kind of school. A technology school focused on practical learning, learn by doing.
And the kicker is who is in the audience.
Right. Philip D. Armour, the industrialist.
He hears this incredibly clear, passionate vision.
And he's so inspired, he actually gives Gonzalez the $1 million to build the school.
Wow. That really shows the power of just articulating it clearly, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And Hill contrasts that with, so many people finishing school without any real defined purpose.
He sees that as a real problem, almost a tragedy, he suggests.
Yeah, people maybe never finding their proper niche, their place to really contribute.
It's not just having an idea, it's making it concrete. He even says your aim should become like a hobby.
Yeah, like something you live with, think about constantly, not just a goal on paper.
It has to be part of your mental landscape.
And crucially, you have to believe you can achieve it. He makes a big distinction between just wishing and truly believing.
Wishing versus believing.
He says the doers, the successful people, are fundamentally believers. They don't really accept impossible.
Like Edison, right? Failing thousands of times, but sticking with it.
Exactly. That unwavering belief in the aim fuels the persistence. Can you think of a time belief really pulled you through something tough?
For sure. That conviction makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so step 1. A crystal clear aim you genuinely believe in. What's next?
Next up is a really interesting one, the mastermind principle.
The mastermind. Okay, sounds intriguing, like a team of geniuses.
Sort of, but the key is how they work together. It's about blending minds, 2 or more, in perfect harmony.
Harmony is the key word there.
Absolutely critical, according to Hill. He says you need that harmonious blending for the group to generate real power towards that definite purpose.
So it's not just throwing smart people together.
No, he actually warns against having negative or repellent minds in the group. They prevent the blend, like bad chemistry.
Okay, that makes sense. You need positive synergy. Does he give examples?
He does. Andrew Carnegie is a big one. Carnegie didn't know all the technical stuff about steel.
Right, but he surrounded himself with experts who did.
Exactly. And Henry Ford did something similar. They built teams, leveraging others' expertise harmoniously. Have you seen that work in practice, where combining skills elevates the outcome?
Oh, absolutely. You can't know everything. Building that complementary team is vital. But Hill talks about a friendly alliance.
Yes. He advises forming this close group, people really committed to your definite chief aim.
And they should even sign off on it, like a formal agreement.
He suggests that, yes, a written statement of the objective. But here's a twist.
Oh.
He advises keeping the specifics of the aim private from the wider world. Keep it away from the doubting Thomases, as he calls them.
Interesting. Protect the vision from negativity while it's growing.
That seems to be the idea. Nurture it in that supportive inner circle.
And he connects this mastermind idea to something bigger, right? Organized effort.
Yes, he sees organized effort as the source of all real power. He even wonders what could happen if big institutions, churches, schools, the press, truly aligned their efforts for good.
That's a powerful thought. The potential of collective, harmonious action.
It highlights that exponential power when efforts are aligned towards a common goal. What do you think about that potential today?
It's definitely something to consider. Okay, so we have the individual aim, the supportive mastermind. What's the next ingredient Hill emphasizes?
The next piece is absolutely crucial. Imagination.
Imagination. Not just a daydreaming, I assume.
No, he sees it as a vital mental faculty, working hand in hand with initiative. He argues basically every significant achievement starts as an idea, a picture in the imagination.
He uses that Marshall Field story again, doesn't he? After the Chicago fire.
Yes, it's such a powerful example, while others saw only devastation.
Field was visualizing a huge new store rising from the ashes.
Exactly. That mental creation preceded the physical one. What does that tell you about vision in tough times?
It tells me you have to see the possibility first, absolutely. He also talks about James J. Hill, the railway builder.
Right, the Great Northern Railway. Hill says James J. Hill saw the entire railway line, connecting the coasts, vividly in his imagination long before any track was laid.
That mental blueprint guided the whole massive project.
Precisely. It's that power of seeing it finished in your mind. How does that scale of vision strike you, even for smaller goals?
It's a reminder to think bigger, perhaps. He uses some simpler analogies too, right? Bricks and barns.
Yeah, like scattered bricks only become a house through the architect's imagination, or a rundown barn transformed by someone seeing its potential as, say, an auto supply shop.
Taking what exists and seeing a new, better form. Have you ever used imagination like that? Seen potential others missed?
And it's not just huge projects. He talks about practical uses, too.
Like putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Exactly. Imagining you're the governor, for example, to understand their viewpoint and communicate more effectively. How could using imagination that way help your interactions?
That's a really useful way to think about it. Imagination for empathy and strategy. He even mentioned something a bit more out there.
He does briefly touch on its interpretative capacity, maybe picking up thought vibrations, almost like telepathy.
Yeah. A bit more speculative.
Yeah, but it shows how broadly he viewed the mind's potential.
Yeah.
What's your gut reaction to that intuitive side?
It's certainly food for thought.
Well,
Okay, so aim, mastermind, imagination. What else is vital in Hill's framework?
next, he dives into the significance of enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. That makes immediate sense, doesn't it? Especially when dealing with people.
Totally. He calls it the foundation of a pleasing personality, which he thinks is essential for influencing people and getting cooperation.
Yeah, that energy is contagious. He says it saturates people with interest. Have you felt that?
Oh, absolutely. It's more than just being interested yourself. It's projecting that passion so others get drawn in.
And it's not just the words. It's the delivery.
Right. The tone of voice, the whole attitude. He contrasts a flat delivery with words pouring from an eager heart. Remember a time someone's enthusiasm really got you fired up?
Definitely. That genuine spark is powerful. He talks about salesmen specifically, I think.
Yes, how a salesman's real enthusiasm for the product builds rapport and trust with the buyer. That excitement often seals the deal. How consciously do you use enthusiasm when you're trying to persuade or lead?
It's something to be mindful of, for sure. Okay, so enthusiasm gets people engaged, but you need to manage that energy, right? Keep it focused.
And that leads us straight to the next principle, the necessity of self-control.
Self-control, the balance wheel, he calls it.
Exactly. It directs the enthusiasm, keeps it on track toward your goals. He says it's how you become the master of your fate.
A balance wheel makes sense. What happens without it, according to Hill? What are the dangers?
He gives some clear examples, like a salesman losing his temper with customer boom, sale gone, relationship damage.
Right. Or the printer who overate and lost a big order because he wasn't sharp.
Exactly. And making snap judgments without knowing the facts, letting emotions rule reason. Can you recall a time lack of self-control maybe tripped you up?
We've all been there, I suspect. He also stresses controlling your thoughts.
Hugely important. Being mindful of what you let dominate your thinking. Actively avoiding negativity from, Cynics or pessimists.
Guarding your mental state.
And it even applies to dealing with enemies or critics.
Oh, yeah, so.
He advises not striking back instinctively. Instead, study how successful people handled criticism. They didn't get derailed by wanting revenge. They stayed focused on their own path. What do you think of that approach?
It takes discipline, but it makes sense. Don't waste energy on negativity. Okay, staying focused, controlling impulses. What's the next law?
The next one is the law of increasing returns. It sounds a bit economic, but it's really about rendering more service than expected.
Going the extra mile, essentially.
Pretty much. The core idea is the more value you consistently give, the more you ultimately receive back.
Like that story he tells about the stenographer.
Perfect example. She dramatically increased her value and her income just by consistently doing more than her job description required. Proactively adding value. Have you seen that pay off for people?
Definitely. And it's not just for individuals, right? He mentions Ford's business philosophy.
Exactly. Ford aimed to give the best possible car at the lowest possible price. Massive value for the customer. That built his empire. What do you see as the upside of always focusing on delivering value in your world?
It builds trust and loyalty, long-term success. Hill even says giving more is a form of education.
Yeah, he argues it's one of the best ways to learn because it develops your initiative, your proactivity. It benefits the giver most in the long run.
So look for chances to add value beyond your duties, not for immediate pay, but for growth.
Exactly. Cultivate that initiative. How does that resonate, giving more as self-development?
It's a great reframe. Okay, so you're doing all this aiming high, collaborating, imagining, being enthusiastic but controlled, giving extra value. How do you make sure you're thinking straight through it all?
That brings us right to accurate thinking. Hill calls it a foundation stone of enduring success.
Accurate thinking. What does that involve?
It's about learning to separate facts from just, hearsay or opinion, and then organizing the important facts into workable plans.
So critical thinking, basically. Moving beyond surface appearances. He warns against snap judgments.
Strongly. Look deeper, understand the nuances. And he also warns against belittling others' competitors, enemies.
Why is that bad for accurate thinking?
Because it clouds your judgment with bias. It prevents you from seeing the situation or the person clearly. How do you try to stay objective?
It's a constant effort. Seeing things as they are, not just how we want them to be. He mentions a higher level, too, the spiritual period.
Briefly, yes. He describes it as projecting your thought into infinite intelligence, accessing deeper insight. It's a bit more abstract.
Okay. More philosophical.
But the core is gather info, analyze objectively, apply strategically. That's accurate thinking.
Got it. Now, how do you make all these principles, the aim, the mindset, truly stick? How do you internalize them?
That is where the power of autosuggestion comes in.
Autosuggestion. Making suggestions to yourself.
Essentially, yes. It's the way you impress your subconscious mind with your definite chief aim, influencing your deeper beliefs and driving your actions.
He uses that phonograph analogy, right?
Yeah, like your conscious mind creates the picture, the goal, and autosuggestion repeatedly records that picture onto your subconscious.
And the subconscious then influences your habits and perceptions.
Exactly. It starts guiding you automatically. He even offers a specific self-confidence formula.
What does that involve?
Daily mental concentration, vividly picturing the person you intend to become, and then committing to making that picture real through action and service. Do you use any practices like that, affirmations or visualization?
It makes sense. He shares a pretty amazing story, too, about someone turning their life around with it.
Oh, yeah, the tramp who basically sold himself into a good job by relentlessly using autosuggestion to build unshakable self-confidence. What stands out to you in that story?
Just the sheer power of changing your internal state first. Mindset is huge. But Hill adds a warning, too.
A crucial one. He says skepticism and doubt kill the process. You have to have positive belief to fertilize the egg of your thought, as he puts it.
Belief is the essential ingredient.
Without it, the suggestions won't take root. How do you handle doubt when you're trying something ambitious?
It's a challenge. So visualization plus genuine belief. Does he suggest a specific practice?
He does. A daily habit. Find a quiet place, minimal distractions, and just intensely visualize your definite chief aim. Really feel it.
To consistently impress it on the subconscious.
Exactly. Reinforce the belief, drive the action.
Wow. Looking back at all these principles from the Law of Success, even though it's nearly a century old, they feel incredibly relevant.
They really do. Timeless insights into what makes people tick, what drives achievement.
And for listeners trying to navigate all the information out there, trying to learn effectively, These laws offer a solid framework, don't they?
A really valuable one. It helps cut through the noise, focus on fundamentals that work across different fields and times.
So as everyone listening thinks about these ideas, the definite aim, the mastermind, imagination, enthusiasm, self-control, giving more service, accurate thinking, auto-suggestion, maybe think about which one or two really jump out for you right now.
Yeah, where could applying one of these more consciously make the biggest difference in your own life or work?
It's definitely worth exploring Hill's original book for a deeper dive, too. There's so much more in there.
Absolutely. A real treasure trove of wisdom.
And maybe leave everyone with this thought. What if you picked just one of these laws and really consciously applied it starting tomorrow? How might that shift your perspective, your actions, and what surprising results might follow?
That's a great question to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration of the law of success.
Yeah, we hope it gave you some valuable things to think about. We always love hearing your thoughts or questions, so feel free to share. Until the next deep dive.